We all know where the day ended up, with a violent insurrection at the U.S. Capitol. And we know that right before the violent insurrection, President Trump gave a speech near the White House in which he riled up his supporters and told them to march to the Capitol. But that speech didn't start until noon. At that point, the Stop the Steal rally on the Ellipse had been going on all morning. But do you recall who began the day bright and early at 9 a.m.? Who really set the tone for the event? It was this guy.
Today is the day American patriots start taking down names and kicking ass.
That was how the day started. That was Alabama Republican Congressman Mo Brooks setting the mood for the day on January 6th. Congressman Brooks fondly recalled how, quote, our ancestors, end quote, sacrificed their, quote, blood and sometimes their lives, end quote. And he asked the audience if they were, quote, willing to do the same. Are you willing to do what it takes to fight for America? Carry the message to Capitol Hill. The fight begins today. All of those are Mo Brooks' words. Now, some Democratic members of Congress tried to censure Mo Brooks for his speech that day, but one of their colleagues had a different idea. Congressman Eric Swalwell of California filed a lawsuit against Mo Brooks, along with the other speakers at the January 6th Stop the Steal rally, including President Trump, in which he accused Brooks of inciting an insurrection. In response to the lawsuit, Congressman Brooks had a novel defense. I was just doing my job. He said he couldn't be sued for his speech because he was acting in his official capacity as a United States congressman. And so the court turned to the U.S. Justice Department and asked the department to weigh in on whether Congressman Brooks was just performing his official duties as a federal employee. And the Justice Department has now delivered its reply to the court. And it says, in essence, you're on your own, Mo. I mean, it did seem like a long shot that Mo Brooks would get the U.S. Justice Department to come to his rescue here, but spare a thought for the Justice Department lawyer who had to actually write this court filing spelling out their reasoning. This is an actual quote from the filing. The complaint alleges that Brooks conspired with others to instigate a violent attack on the U.S. Capitol and incited a riot there. Instigating such an attack plainly could not be within the scope of federal employment. Quote, alleged action to attack Congress and disrupt its official functions is not conduct a member of Congress is employed to perform. Welcome to 2021, where the United States Department of Justice is forced to clarify in court that inciting an insurrection is not part of the official job duties of a member of Congress. But here's one thing that's worth pulling out from the argument that Mo Brooks tried to make about what he was doing at that rally on January the 6th. He says the reason his speech at the rally was part of his official duties was that he made it, quote, in the context of and in preparation for congressional votes, end quote. Votes that were held that day to certify the presidential election. It was all part of the preparation for the certification vote. And that preparation had been going on for weeks at that point. This was the headline at Politico on December 21st of last year. House Republicans meet with Trump to discuss overturning election results. Now, see the subheadline there. Trump loyalists are planning a last stand January 6th. Inside the article, President Donald Trump huddled with a group of congressional Republicans at the White House on Monday, where they strategized over a last-ditch effort to overturn the election results next month. Representative Mo Brooks, who's spearheading the long-shot push to overturn the election results in Congress, organized the trio of White House meetings, which lasted over 3 hours and included roughly a dozen lawmakers. During Monday's meeting at the White House, where lawmakers noshed on a mid-afternoon snack of meatballs and pigs in a blanket, Trump talked with members for over an hour about how January 6th will play out. Mo Brooks, who spearheaded weeks of planning to overturn the election on January 6th, who says his man the barricades speech that morning was all part of his preparation for that day's vote. I mean, the violence that day took most people by surprise, including the police officers on the front lines, according to their testimony on Capitol Hill yesterday. But apparently it did not take Mo Brooks by surprise. And here's how we know that. Congressman Brooks tonight tells a reporter, Jim Newell at Slate.com, that he was wearing body armor when he gave this speech on the morning of January 6th. Quote, because of a tip he'd received about potential violence, Brooks had been wearing body armor at the very same ellipse speech in which he encouraged rally attendees to start taking down names and kicking ass. Quote, that's why I was wearing that nice little windbreaker, Brooks told me with a grin, to cover up the body armor. He didn't say who warned him or what the risk was that he'd been warned about. Well, those sound like good questions for the new select committee investigating the January 6th attack.